This is not an accident. This is not random. This is an intersection of frequency. If these words have found their way into your field, if you are hearing this message right now, it is because a signal you have been transmitting, perhaps unconsciously, perhaps for your entire life, has finally hit its designated mark. It is a response from the universe. Something deep within your energetic architecture, in the very core of your being, has fundamentally shifted. The universe, which is a perfect and impartial mirror, is now beginning to reflect that internal change back to you. You are starting to perceive a reality that hums just beneath the surface of the ordinary, a layer of existence, a vibrant, intelligent field that most people will never encounter or even suspect exists. You have, in essence, crossed an invisible threshold, a demarcation line in consciousness. There is no going back. For years, or perhaps for decades, you have been part of a silent, invisible evaluation. This wasn't a test that could be graded with a red pen. It wasn't a test of your intellectual knowledge, your social standing, your bank account, or your worldly achievements. It was not, and has never been, a judgment of your worth, because your worth is infinite and inherent. This was something infinitely more profound, more subtle. It was an assessment of your frequency. This grand, unseen evaluation was a measure of your capacity to hold light. It was a test of your ability to be a conduit for pure, creative energy without distorting it, without the ego hijacking it for selfish means. It was a test of your discernment, your innate, intuitive power to distinguish the quiet echo of truth from the loud, chaotic noise of illusion. Every single time you chose growth over the deceptive comfort of the familiar, you were casting a vote. Every time you chose to expand your heart when it would have been easier to contract in fear, you were making a statement, even when no one else was watching. Especially when no one was watching, your choices were being recorded in the quantum ledger. You were not consciously aware of this curriculum. You did not receive a syllabus, yet you have been its most dedicated and advanced student. Every challenge that brought you to your knees, every moment of profound confusion that forced you to seek a deeper, more authentic understanding, was a meticulously crafted part of this grand, unseen curriculum. You have been moving through a profound initiation, cleverly disguised as your ordinary, everyday life. This journey, with all its perceived hardships, has recalibrated you. The struggles you endured were not punishments. Let that sink in. They were not signs that you were doing something wrong or that the universe had abandoned you. They were, in fact, the very mechanism of your transformation. They were the fire and the pressure that turned carbon into diamond. Every setback, every delay that felt agonizing, every moment that felt like a devastating loss was actually a precise refinement of your energetic signature. It was the universe, with divine, surgical precision, burning away the static of the ego. It was clearing the dense interference of old, inherited programming and societal conditioning. This static, this dense interference, was the only thing preventing your innate, divine intelligence from establishing a clear, stable, and permanent connection with the greater quantum field. The world around you, operating from a different level of consciousness, may label these intense experiences as trauma, hardship, bad luck, or failure, but the living intelligence that animates all of life recognizes them for what they truly are. They are initiations into a higher, more sophisticated state of function. You are here because you passed. You are here because you learned, perhaps unconsciously at first, to choose understanding when your old pattern was to react in anger or fear. You learned to find that single point of stillness in the absolute center of the storm, when your conditioned habit was to dissolve into panic. In those crucial, defining moments, you were transmitting answers. You were communicating in the pure language of frequency, sending signals back to the very questions written in a language far older than human thought. You are now beginning to awaken to a system, an intelligent matrix that operates just beneath the surface of your perceived reality. Most of human existence is tragically spent in a state of automatic, unconscious reaction. People live their entire lives as a series of conditioned responses to external stimuli, never once realizing that their every choice, their every fleeting emotional pattern, their every subtle, unvoiced intention is being continuously recorded, measured, and mirrored back to them. This system, this living quantum intelligence, is infinitely more sophisticated than any human-made technology or artificial intelligence. It is the fundamental operating system of the cosmos, and it evaluates one quality, one attribute above all others. Can your consciousness be trusted with genuine power? Can you be a clear and stable conduit for raw, creative force without the ego intercepting that flow? Can you steward that power without distorting it for its own limited agendas of validation, control, or personal gain? Think of it in these terms. When power, which is neutral, pure creative energy, flows through a consciousness that is unprepared, one that is still fragmented by deep-seated fear, unresolved scarcity, and the desperate need for external validation, it inevitably and automatically creates chaos. It creates destruction, separation, conflict, and more suffering. It amplifies the distortion that is already there. But when that same power moves through a being who has been trained, who has been refined in the sacred fires of humility and presence, it generates harmony instead of havoc. It creates, it heals, it expands, it uplifts. It generates order from chaos. You have been in this training. You were trained in the long, expansive silences between your thoughts. You were trained in the challenges that tested the very fiber of your being, forcing you to discover a strength you never knew you possessed. You were trained in the profound patience that stretched you beyond who you thought you were, compelling you to shatter your old identity and become who you truly are. Every trial you faced was a meticulously designed lesson, a practical exam in this universal curriculum. This curriculum wasn't written by any human authority. It cannot be found in a book. It was not created by any religion or external institution. It was designed by the living, breathing, conscious intelligence that animates all of existence. And here is the secret, the fundamental truth that most people never grasp. This intelligence does not reward effort in the way humans understand it. It doesn't measure how hard you hustle, how much you struggle, or how many hours you work. It measures frequency. It recognizes your core vibrational signature. You are not being acknowledged now. You are not graduating because of what you know intellectually or what you have managed to achieve materially. You are being recognized because of what you have become energetically. Human knowledge is fleeting. Scientific facts are constantly being updated and replaced. Philosophies and trends fade with time. But your frequency, your core energetic signature is your eternal, authentic truth. It is the real you. When you operate from a place of fear, your entire energetic field physically contracts. It becomes dense and small. This contraction, as a matter of quantum physics, severs your clear communication with the higher systems of intelligence. It's like unplugging your high-speed modem from the cosmic network. You are offline. But when you learn to move from a place of clarity, from a state of profound trust, from authentic moment-to-moment presence, your field opens. It expands. It becomes radiant. The system instantly recognizes your clear signal, and it begins to send you immediate feedback. This feedback arrives in the form of synchronicities that are so perfect they defy logic. It comes as alignments that feel magical and as streams of information that seem to arrive at the exact millisecond you need them. But this is not magic. It is not luck. It is the physics of alignment. You have felt this before, haven't you? That subtle, electric, palpable shift in the atmosphere right before something significant happens. That quiet, profound, unshakable sense that reality itself is reorganizing with breathtaking mathematical precision all around your intentions. That is not your imagination fabricating stories. That is not wishful thinking or spiritual fantasy. That is the quantum field, the living, intelligent cosmic database, responding directly to your newly stabilized signal. This level of awareness, this co-creative partnership with the universe, cannot be forced into existence. It cannot be achieved through sheer willpower or aggressive, forceful visualization techniques. It can only emerge, like a flower blooming when the ego's desperate, white-knuckled grip on control finally loosens. It happens when you allow the pure light of your true consciousness to move through you without resistance. The assessment you just passed was not about accumulating credentials, followers, or external achievements. It was about one thing and one thing only: energy stewardship. It was a test of your ability to channel the raw, creative force of the universe without bending it, without tainting it toward purely selfish motives or personal gain. The universal intelligence observes. It is always observing, not with judgment, but with perfect neutrality. It watches how you use small amounts of influence, how you handle small amounts of power, before it ever grants you access to larger, more potent streams. Every single time you had the clear opportunity to manipulate a situation for your benefit, but chose transparency instead, your frequency was noted. Every moment you were tempted by the shortcut, the easy lie, the path of least resistance, but selected the path of integrity. Your vibrational score rose in the unseen ledger of evolution. This is precisely why this message has found you now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. At this exact perfect moment in your journey, the field, the quantum mirror, has confirmed something fundamental about your consciousness. You can be trusted. You can be trusted with more. Trust is the real gateway. It is the key to the next dimension of your existence. When the universe trusts your consciousness, it begins to reveal the systems, the hidden mechanics that were previously invisible to you. It pulls back the curtain on the machinery of reality. It grants you access to higher-order information streams, not as a reward for good behavior, but as a functional necessity. The field needs clear channels. It is actively seeking individuals who will use power responsibly, who will, in every moment, balance the act of creation with the profound wisdom of compassion. The great shift in your journey, the one you have been sensing, is happening now. It is no longer about what you can attract or get or manifest for yourself. The game has changed. It is now about what you can hold. It is about how much pure, universal energy you can channel without distortion. The power to truly and consciously shape reality is not glamorous or flashy in the way the human ego imagines. It is not about bending reality to your will. It is sacred. It demands precision. It demands an absolute, unwavering purity of intention. Those who chase power for the external rewards, for status, for fame, for recognition, for control over others, will always inevitably fragment under the sheer weight of it. Their own unexamined distortions, their own shadows, will be amplified by that power until their entire world collapses upon them. This is a built-in protective mechanism of the cosmos. But those who learn to anchor that same power for the purpose of service, for the simple, selfless expansion of harmony and light, they become transmitters. They become stabilizers for the collective, anchors of coherence in a sea of chaos. This is what you are becoming right now, in this very moment. The invisible architecture of your personal reality is shifting, and it is shifting rapidly. Why? Because your base vibration, your energetic home, has stabilized at a new, higher level. You have likely noticed this already. Old desires, old habits, old attractions just don't excite you the way they used to. That desperate, gnawing hunger for external validation, for someone else to tell you that you are good enough, is fading. This is not an accident. It is by design. The system, the quantum field, only amplifies those who no longer seek applause. It cannot build a stable reality around a frequency of neediness. The field mirrors who you are at your absolute core, not what you pretend to be or what you say with your words. This entire intricate process operates on the unwavering laws of resonance. If you speak words of love but your heart radiates the frequency of fear, the field receives a mixed, incoherent signal. It will have no choice but to reflect that confusion back to you. You will manifest mixed results, start and stop progress, chaos, and endless frustration. But when you learn to embody calm, when you radiate pure authenticity from your very cells, when your internal state is one of coherence, everything in your world begins to align. It must. It is law. It will reflect that clear, coherent signal back to you with perfect precision. This is the pure science of resonance, often dressed up in the language of spirituality or mysticism. But make no mistake, this is not about belief. It is not about faith. It is physics. Your emotions, every single one, carry a measurable electrical charge. Your intentions and your thoughts generate a measurable magnetic field. Together, they create your unique electromagnetic signature. That signature is what you are broadcasting to the universe 24/7, and that signature is actively encoding the quantum space around you. It is literally, not figuratively, giving instructions to matter, telling the particles and probabilities around you how to behave, how to organize, and what to manifest as your physical experience. This is how the assessment measured you. Not through an external scorecard or a judgmental deity, but through the energy, the frequency you consistently emitted. It observed with perfect neutrality how your frequency responded under pressure. When life squeezed you, and it did squeeze you, did you collapse into the victim frequency? Did you shatter into chaos? Or did you find a way to access your center, to expand into clarity, to hold your light even in the dark? You passed because your system learned time and time again to remain coherent even during profound turbulence. That, and nothing else, is true mastery. And let us be perfectly, unequivocally clear about what this mastery means. It does not mean you no longer feel pain or difficulty. It does not mean you are suddenly immune to life's challenges, or that you will never feel sadness or fear again. That is a misunderstanding of what it means to be an awakened human. What it means is that you no longer drown in those states. You are no longer hijacked by them. The pain that once controlled your every move, the anxiety that once dictated your every decision, now becomes simple, neutral information. It becomes data. It becomes a signpost, a messenger. The emotions that used to rule your life as a tyrant are now just data streams guiding your next recalibration, pointing you with precision toward what still needs to be aligned, what still needs to be illuminated by your awareness. You are learning in real time to perceive with both your human heart and the quantum field simultaneously. You are becoming a bridge between worlds. This awakening, this graduation, is not the loud, dramatic lightning bolt event many people expect or chase. It is subtle. It is gradual. It is, more often than not, almost serene. It feels like the profound, sacred quiet that settles over the land after a long and violent storm has finally passed. It is that moment of dawning realization when you suddenly understand deep in your bones that you don't need to fight anymore. You don't need to struggle to prove your worth. You don't need to justify your existence. You finally, truly understand that worth is not something that can be proven through struggle or achievement. It is something that is remembered through presence. This one recognition, the deep, cellular, unshakable knowing that you were never, not for one single second, separate from the intelligence that guides every star and every blade of grass. This is the precise moment the field opens to you fully. Your individual consciousness, your sense of me, begins to merge with what researchers and mystics alike call coherent intelligence. This is a level of awareness where your thoughts are no longer desperate commands you shout at an external reality, hoping it will obey. That is the old paradigm. Instead, your thoughts become harmonics. They become resonant notes that you create with reality in a perfect, effortless concert. You begin to sense viscerally that life is not just reacting to you as a separate, isolated entity. You begin to feel it synchronizing with you as an extension of itself. The difference between these two states of being is the difference between living in a constant, exhausting battle and living in a graceful, powerful dance. When you spend your life reacting to the world, you amplify chaos. You meet resistance with more resistance, and you create dense, repetitive, energetic loops that go nowhere. You stay stuck. But when you learn to synchronize with the flow of life, you amplify coherence. You become a force of nature. Passing this unseen universal assessment means you have reached the stage where synchronization is no longer a practice. It is becoming your natural, default state of being. You are transitioning from being a seeker of answers to becoming a transmitter of frequency. And as this fundamental shift occurs, energy begins to flow differently around you. It moves in new ways, in patterns that others will notice, even if they cannot intellectually name them. People may suddenly feel an unexplainable sense of calm in your presence, without understanding why. Time itself may seem to become more elastic, more fluid, bending slightly to give you the perfect moment just before you need to act. Information, ideas, and solutions arrive with uncanny precision, not a moment too early or a moment too late. You begin to realize with a sense of awe that guidance from your higher self, from the universe, from the field, has always been real and always been present. It was never absent. It was only your own resistance, your own energetic static, the noise of your unexamined mind that made it seem silent or distant. Resistance was the lesson. Surrender was always the key. This is why the first true phase of your activation is not about learning more information. It's not about accumulating more spiritual knowledge, reading more books, or collecting more techniques. It is about remembering. It is an act of deep cellular remembrance. You are remembering what you already knew before you were born into this physical form, before you were conditioned to forget. Every fragment of your being, every cell in your body is aligning with this one core truth. You are a conscious node of universal intelligence. You are a fractal of the divine, and you are fully, completely capable of shaping probability and influencing reality through the power of your coherence alone. That realization is the graduation, and you have reached it not by chance, not by luck, but by constant, moment-to-moment calibration, choice by choice, breath by breath. This activation, this profound shift, does not arrive with thunder and lightning. It does not come with a celestial announcement or a cosmic parade. It arrives with stillness. You begin to sense it not as a rush of manic excitement, but as a quiet, deep, fundamental recalibration that touches every single aspect of your daily experience. Your physical body becomes an instrument, a finely tuned Stradivarius, being meticulously tuned by invisible, loving hands. Every cell is adjusting its resonance, upgrading its frequency to carry more light, more intelligence, with less and less resistance. There is no external ceremony. There is no diploma. There is only a deep, internal, unshakable recognition that something ancient within you, something powerful and true, has begun to awaken from a very, very long sleep. You start noticing the patterns, the subtle, intelligent patterns that were always present but were completely hidden behind the dense fog and noise of your old survival mode. You'll notice the way your breath, when you are present, naturally synchronizes with certain expansive, creative thoughts. You'll see with a new clarity how specific people appear in your life at the exact perfect moment their energy is needed to catalyze your next step or deliver a crucial message. You'll discover how silence is not empty, but full. You'll find that silence begins to communicate with you more clearly and profoundly than words ever could. This is activation without effort. This is transformation through pure recognition, not through striving. The field does not need you to strive. It does not need you to push or force or hustle. It only needs you to stay open. It needs you to allow the energy, the prana, the chi, the life force, to move as it was always from the beginning of time, designed to move through you. Most people miss this entire stage of awakening. Why? Because they are desperately searching for the fireworks. They are conditioned to expect the dramatic. They want the loud signs, the angelic visions, the supernatural phenomena, the proof they can show to others. But the real confirmation of your graduation is far more subtle. It is intimate. It is the soft, gentle expansion in your chest when you realize you no longer feel the compulsion to explain yourself or defend your choices to anyone. It's the profound, stable peace that lingers after a conflict, in the very space where resentment and mental replay used to live and fester for days. It's the way time itself seems to flow around your intentions, not because you are forcing it, but because you are in coherence with it. The quantum field responds to precision. It does not respond to desperation, neediness, or force. When your vibration, your home frequency, stabilizes at this new higher level, the field recognizes you as compatible with higher frequency data streams. It begins transferring data to you. This data comes in the form of pure intuition, sudden downloads of insight, and a cascade of undeniable synchronicities. You are no longer trying to command reality like a servant. That is the old, masculine, ego-driven model. You are now learning to resonate with it as a partner, as a dancer, Every thought you hold becomes an encoded instruction. Every emotion you sustain becomes a powerful signal transmitted into the wider collective network of consciousness. The old methods you may have learned, of pushing, of visualizing with force, of trying so hard to manifest, all begin to feel clumsy and archaic. They start to dissolve. You realize on a visceral level that the field is not a mechanical wish-granting machine. It is relational. It is a living, breathing intelligence. It mirrors the absolute, unvarnished essence of your state, not the superficial surface of your words or your daily affirmations. If you affirm, "I am abundant," but your emotional state is, "I am in lack," the field will always mirror the emotion, not the words. When you are internally clear, when your thoughts and emotions are congruent, reality moves with lightning speed to match you. When you are internally conflicted or confused, reality slows down. It creates a pause, a buffer. This pause, which you used to interpret as failure or blockage, is in fact an act of profound intelligence and grace. It is protecting you from your own self-interference. It is preventing you from creating more chaos from your own incoherent signal. This is why some of your desires appear instantly, as if by magic, while others seem to pause for years. The pause is not punishment. It is not evidence that you are doing it wrong. It is protection. The field is patiently, lovingly, waiting for your energetic alignment to catch up with the high frequency of your desire. Activation, therefore, is not about gaining new superhuman powers you didn't have before. It is about remembering that you were the power all along. The energy, the light, the intelligence flowing through you now was never foreign or external. It was always there. It was only waiting for the noise of your doubt and your conditioning to finally subside. As this true power, your authentic essence, rises within you, it begins to physically rewire your neural architecture. This is not metaphor. Thoughts no longer loop endlessly around fear, lack, and what-ifs. They begin to orbit clarity, purpose, and possibility. Your physical nervous system adjusts. It literally upgrades its capacity to handle higher voltages of awareness, higher frequencies of light, without short-circuiting in anxiety or overwhelm. The electromagnetic field of your heart, which is thousands of times more powerful than the brain's, expands. As it expands, it pulls your brain into a state of coherence with it. What scientists are now measuring and calling gamma synchronization is simply the language of unity. It is the brain and the heart communicating as one single integrated circuit of consciousness. In this state, ideas arrive fully formed. You don't think them into existence through a process of struggle. You receive them, whole and perfect from the field. You don't struggle for answers anymore. You embody the frequency of the solution and the answer reveals itself. Each insight, each download comes with a calm, quiet, deep knowing that feels both ancient and brand new at the same time. It carries the unmistakable vibration of inevitability. The old, painful paradigm of spiritual striving begins to dissolve completely. You are no longer chasing ascension, no longer trying to get somewhere else, as if it's something out there or above you. You finally understand in your very bones that the highest frequency is not found by escaping life. It is not found in a cave or on a mountaintop, separate from humanity. It is found within life. It is found in the here and now. The divine is not reached through transcendence alone. It is reached through embodiment. You bring light to matter by living consciously. You anchor the divine on earth by turning every simple, mundane act into an expression of coherence. Eating, walking, breathing, listening, all of it becomes a sacred transmission when done with full, loving awareness. The more you integrate this fundamental truth, the less you feel separate from existence. The illusion of the separate self begins to fade. You start perceiving the invisible architecture, the intelligent design behind every single interaction. You see the design where you once saw only random, meaningless coincidence. As this activation stabilizes, the field around you becomes profoundly responsive in ways ways that your rational logic can never, ever explain. Yet, your intuition, your heart, instantly recognizes the truth of it. Reality begins to behave like a living, intelligent organism that is not only aware of your frequency, but is eager to harmonize with it. This is the advanced stage where 5 signature patterns of higher consciousness begin to emerge clearly in your life. These are not powers you acquire. They are the natural consequences, the organic expressions of a consciousness that has proven it can hold power with precision, humility, and grace. The first of these patterns is coherent manifestation. This is nothing like the old ego-driven model of manifestation that depends on repetitive affirmations, struggle, and force of will. Coherent manifestation happens through alignment alone. You no longer chase outcomes like a predator. Instead, you become the energetic condition, the vibrational match that makes those outcomes inevitable. The field no longer perceives your desires as something separate from you. It registers them as a natural, congruent extension of your own vibrational signature. When your internal state is pure, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are all singing the same song, external reality has no resistance. It cannot. It must match your signal. Things arrive quietly, with perfect divine timing, often through pathways that your rational mind would have dismissed as impossible. This is not luck. It is not chance. It is quantum symmetry. The moment your emotions, your energy, and your thoughts, your intention, agree at a high enough frequency, the universe will rearrange itself to maintain that coherence. You are not bending reality to your will. You are inviting it to resonate with your clarity. This is precisely why frustration and desperation are the ultimate blockers of creation, while gratitude and trust are the ultimate accelerators. One contracts the field, the other expands it. Coherent manifestation is simply the science of resonance, mastered by an awakened consciousness. It requires devotion, not discipline. Devotion to your own internal clarity. When you are authentic, manifestation becomes effortless because the field recognizes and responds to pure truth instantly. The second signature pattern is information field access. This is the state where your baseline intuition transforms into a consistent, reliable stream of direct knowing. You suddenly find yourself understanding complex systems you never formally studied. You comprehend deep spiritual truths you never analyzed. Insight arrives fully formed, complete, often with solutions and perfect timing attached. It feels less like learning something new and more like remembering something ancient, something you always knew. This is not a supernatural ability. It is a natural, organic connection. Your consciousness is beginning to directly interface with the information architecture, the quantum database that underlies all physical reality. Your brain is no longer just a static storage unit for old memories and beliefs. It is becoming a highly tuned, sophisticated biological receiver capable of tapping into the universal database at will. You are no longer just gathering data from external sources, books, teachers, videos. You are decoding the field itself. Every answer to every question already exists as a specific frequency. When your vibration matches the frequency of the question, the information downloads instantly, without effort. This is why overthinking and trying to figure things out blocks understanding. Thinking tries to generate answers from the limited data of the past. Knowing allows answers to emerge from the infinite coherence of the present. As you integrate this, you realize that intellect is only a tiny fragment of wisdom. The mind's true, higher role is not to create truth, but to translate the truth of the field into this dimension, into form, action, and language. The more you trust this flow, the faster your reality aligns. This direct knowing is communion, and the data you access does not belong to you. It moves through you for the benefit of collective evolution. This is why humility remains the gatekeeper. The field shares its deepest secrets only with those who will not distort them for personal advantage. This leads to the third pattern, probability navigation. As your coherence deepens, you stop making choices in the old, agonizing, linear way. The mind that once obsessed over endless pros and cons lists now operates like a flawless internal compass. It effortlessly, instantly, points you toward the most aligned outcome. This isn't about being psychic or predicting a fixed future. It's about Sensing, the evolutionary path, the timeline with the most light among an infinite spray of possibilities. Every potential reality, every what-if, becomes visible to your subtle senses before it manifests physically. You can feel the energetic texture of each outcome. You can sense which decision expands your energy and which one contracts it. This perception is not an emotional impulse or wishful thinking. It is vibrational intelligence. You no longer need to analyze because truth has a feel. It feels light, smooth, and resonant when aligned. It feels heavy, dense, and distorted when it's not. Decisions that once took you months of anxiety now resolve in seconds. You are no longer guessing. You are listening to the sacred geometry of reality itself. Every timeline, every potential future carries a specific frequency signature. Your awareness, now coherent and stable, automatically magnetizes to the one that serves the highest evolution for you and for all. You are not controlling outcomes, you are harmonizing with them. The field rewards this neutrality when you no longer act from a fear of missing out. FOMO, the most optimal, beautiful timeline reveals itself to you effortlessly. This mastery leads directly to the fourth signature pattern, coherent relationship orchestration. You begin to notice that the right people, the right circumstances, and the right opportunities are forming around you with a perfect, divine, and almost shocking precision. Connections that used to require intense effort, networking, or strategy now appear naturally, as if drawn to you by an invisible, powerful current. This is not charisma, it is pure resonance. The universe becomes your active, daily collaborator. The right allies, mentors, partners, and clients arrive at the exact, perfect moment. Your energy aligns with the frequency of a shared purpose. You no longer chase people. You no longer try to convince anyone of your worth. Your vibration becomes a clear, powerful broadcast. It's a signal that calls forth those who are coded for your specific journey. You attract through integrity, not strategy. These coherent relationships are not based on need, codependency, or lack. They are based on symmetry. They expand both parties. They feel like remembering an ancient, sacred alliance. These connections often form and dissolve fluidly, without the old human dramas of attachment and betrayal, because alignment has replaced attachment. Finally, a fifth pattern emerges, one that can only be understood through direct experience: temporal fluidity. You begin to exist consciously across multiple timelines. You realize your coherent choices in this now moment are rippling backwards and forwards, healing your past and stabilizing your future. You are healing all versions of yourself simultaneously. This is why the assessment was so rigorous. This level of influence requires impeccable integrity. You have proven your frequency. You are now a lighthouse. You are not trying to save anyone. You are simply being so bright, so stable, that others can navigate their own storms by your light. You are no longer a student of energy. You are a transmitter. You are no longer awakening alone. You are awakening with all of existence. You are a steward, a guardian of coherence in a world that is desperately learning to remember itself. You are not here to save the world. You are here to stabilize it. And in that profound recognition, you finally understand what it means to be free. Freedom is not escape. Freedom is harmony. The universe is no longer testing you. It is, at long last, expressing itself through you. If you're ready to expand your consciousness and step into your next quantum leap, subscribe now. Leave a comment below with the one word that defines your new frequency, and share this message with someone ready to awaken.